Guys, we're here finally. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for waiting. Welcome back to the Soul Factory. This is the third episode. We did the last one with Super Kuma 2 weeks ago. It's happened so soon because the last episode was actually delayed. We're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing it every second Tuesday. This week, as you can see in the stream title, we have. I need to close a few applications here. We have uh, a
Yeah.
player, uh, uh, a player, designer, and streamer for Seven Cities Gaming, up and coming commentator, the emerging voice of the Pakistani Tekken scene. It's the TheSoulDragger. How are you doing, my man?
Thank you very much, Davey, for hosting me. I'm really honored and thrilled to be part of the stream. And most importantly, just like I mentioned in the tournament, that like I've been waiting for this opportunity for like from past decade or something.
Oh,
Just
nice.
because, yeah, just because I mean, there's a lot going on in the FGC,
Mm.
Pakistan that people aren't even aware of.
Mm.
So
That's
I
exactly
mean,
what we want to
it's
get into today. Yeah.
and I personally believe that it's I mean, for others, like Pakistani are like emerging just now, but honestly, since I have opened my eyes in the arcade, I honestly have seen some killers. Like, no
Yeah.
matter regardless of the game, we always had some amazing players and amazing characters
Mm.
in our FGC.
And we're gonna get
So I
into all
mean,
of that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Before we get
And
into all of that, I
yeah,
wanna
perfect.
focus on you first. But before we start the interview, there's a few things I wanted to get out of the way.
Yeah,
We have, uh, as some of you watching may know, we have an event planned this Saturday, the launch of Savannah FGC. It's a new brand we're launching for the Tekken and Mortal Kombat tournaments we're doing next year. Um,
very nice.
so if you wanna come along, if you wanna get more info, it's exclamation mark circuit in the chat. And second, I this involves you actually, Soul Drag. I know you guys have in Pakistan have been doing a donation drive for one of your kids. I just wanted you
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
I wanted you to tell us a bit more about that because I wanted to help support that basically.
Okay, perfect. Uh, Basically, Ryuk Leonidas is his gaming tag, and his actual name is Hamraz.
Hmm.
Basically, I know that guy from a very long time. He has been amazing player. Like, regardless of the game, he's going to be on top of every game, especially 2D games.
Hmm.
So when he came into 3D, I mean, he started tearing everybody. So now he's married. He doesn't even have much time playing the game and everything. But uh, basically, he has a child, Shahzil, and he needs to get his cochlear um, implant. It's like he's born deaf.
Hmm.
So basically, there has to be some treatment done in the UK. Pakistan is not eligible enough to basically treat that thingy. So what we're doing, I mean, we as a player and we as the FGC people, we're trying to gather, some donations for him,
Hmm.
uh, and Alhamdulillah, I mean, it's amazing that we've got an amazing response from all over the world.
Hmm.
I mean, everyone is chipping in, like UYU is doing that, Japan, Korea, everyone is like helping, low high, I mean, you name it, everyone is basically helping us help that child. So I mean, we have like came pretty close to the donation goal. It's not completed yet,
Hmm.
but I think it's not going to be much if we just, I mean, keep pursuing this. And I hope to it's my humble request to everybody whoever is watching. I mean, please do support that father
Hmm.
and the child. They desperately are in need of help. And I mean, since he's a very close friend of mine, I'm telling you, he shared everything with me. I have seen all his medical reports. You can also see that on the donation page,
Hmm.
and it has all the information that you basically need just to know what the child is bearing with. So it is my humble request to just please donate as much as you can
Hmm.
and help and support the child.
So yeah, as you've seen in the chat, it's exclamation mark donate. That'll give you a link to that page. You can help Shazil here again. That's what the page is called. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to maybe there might be some people in our community who might want to help. So I just thought it'd be nice to help you guys with that. So it's the least I can do
Yeah.
anyway. So yeah,
Yes.
so thanks for that. All right, so moving on with the interview now.
Yeah.
You're obviously known within the Pakistani Tekken community, but you're a new face for the rest of the world. We all saw you for the
Yes.
first time at Takra Cup a few years
Yeah.
ago. But before we go into anything else, like how did you personally get into fighting games?
Honestly, I'm trying to host. I even forgot to.
You're trying to host.
I
You
forgot.
put a command in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think I messed up with the command as well. It was like host and then the ID or something.
Oh yeah, you did it on our channel instead of your channel.
Yeah, I know. I was supposed to do it there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Is the command is right? Just.
I think it's forward slash host and then Tekken 254. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So I mean, I personally like it's been like I always say ages since
Mm,
I'm in the FGC. I have the privilege to basically travel and like play the game in many cities rather than just one.
mm.
So like I started my gaming career in Lahore and
That's where you're
like for
from,
10
right?
years. Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I've got the chance to, like, I got the chance to. I mean, that's where basically I started playing King of Fighters
Mhm,
and Art of Fighting 2, Real Bout, Fatal Fury,
mhm.
all those, versus playing game. I kept playing those games, and it was like an amazing experience back then. And then I was probably 6 when I went to the arcade for the very first time.
6.
So
God damn.
yeah, and when I used to come back, I used to get beaten by my parents. Why would you go? Yeah.
It's the same in
So I
Africa.
mean,
Don't worry.
yeah.
Exact
So
same
I
in
mean,
Africa.
but so the passion was so intense that while I'm being beaten, my hands are still doing the kings rolling and kings, other stuff. So it was
Mm-hmm.
that much insane.
Yeah.
So then I kept playing the game. I memorized almost all Taken 3.
Mm-hmm.
I there will be hardly any move that I do not know from that game, and of every character,
Mm-hmm.
and then I moved to Faisalabad for 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to experience some really amazing KOF scene there, and as well as Taken. Taken, where I used to play Taken, uh, I was probably the champion of my arcade.
Mm-hmm.
Like there would be hardly anyone who could beat me because I was so young that I wouldn't even travel, to the other arcade.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone who basically wanted to play, they would come to my arcade and I will play and I will go home. So it was more like that. So I sadly couldn't really explore further into other arcades, but whoever came to my arcade, I know them really well. So Faisalabad had an amazing Tekken scene as well. So then I started my journey. I went into KOF really much. I dig that game. I that is probably the first game basically started labbing, and I labbed every character. I did made combos of my own. I mean, I'm talking about the time where we wouldn't even have the access to the internet. Even if we had, I was too young to basically have a computer and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it
yeah. So
was
you had
it,
to
it,
go out to
it,
the
it was
arcades and that's where you'd play. Yeah.
exactly. So what I did, I had my computer over. I will install the game. Am I still blurry or something?
It keeps going. It keeps coming and going. I think you just have to
Yeah,
leave it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So what happened then? I then started playing KOF 2K really on a very competitive level. I think I was 16 when I used to compete with the boys of the age of 25, 28,
Mm, mm,
26.
mm,
So like it was really amazing experience to even still make it into the quarterfinal of that tournament with that age.
mm,
So I found I met one of the player of KOF who would basically come from Lahore to play a tournament in Faisalabad.
mm,
So he turned out to be like I basically like experienced like this. Everyone was scared of him,
mm,
and his name was Faisal, and so he was a Lahore guy. So I mean, then I got to know that why Faisalabadi people are scared from this guy, and just because he was too good. And it was like, in King of Fighters you have three characters, so you I mean, that guy will basically beat all of your character with his first character, so he was that good.
mm, mm.
So I think then I really realized, but I couldn't really experience it because I was young when I left Lahore. So after 7 years, I came back to. Okay, yeah, I played. Meanwhile, with KOF2K2, I played Tekken 5 very competitively
Mhm,
on in Faisalabad as well.
mhm,
So again, it was more like me competing with my own arcade people, and I'm the king. So basically, that's something that really basically didn't let me grow my game.
mm.
So because I couldn't really travel, it was really difficult for me to basically explore.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
the only day basically I really had a hard time in my arcade was a player from Lahore came, and he played Brian
Mm,
against my Huarang Steve and Lee Shaolan.
mm.
So he was like
This was still
really
Tekken
tough.
5. This was still Tekken 5.
Yeah, it was taken five.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I felt that I'm lacking somewhere.
Mm,
So when me and my family decided to go to Lahore back again, I honestly speaking, I quit the games. I said it's a wastage of time. I said it's this and that and the other, and I said, okay, I just want to get over with this because I think it's a childish thing. I have been doing that in the past. I think I should move on. So
mm,
I had kind of those sort of sentiments. So and because I had like already played Taken 5 that much that I was really bored. And on the other hand, we used to play Taken Tag Tournament 1 as well.
mm,
So Taken 1, I really played it like anything. It was the game that I basically I lived. So I mean that was the game that I played with all of my heart, just because I had an extremely good competition, to compete. So I came back to Lahore. I saw one day I decided that okay, let's go into the arcade. Let's see what happens. So when I went to take like when I went to the arcade, I saw Taken 6 for the very first time.
mm,
I don't know what's my camera is doing at the moment. Anyways, it's fine now. So when I came back, I went to the arcade. I played Taken 6, and when I saw that game, I fell in love with its graphics, and it was like it wasn't like Taken 5 at all,
yeah, yeah.
and I went straight away, and the first client I put in the game, I chose Steve. So
Yeah.
how monstrous Steve was in Taken 5. So I did try to do that down forward 2 launcher in
Yeah, yeah,
Taken
yeah.
6. So it was like more like a cutter down forward 2, and I was like, what the hell? I don't
Mm,
want to play Steve ever again because he has lost his launcher.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I realized then later on, I realized that okay, it's that back one is the new launcher rather than down forward 2. So I was really worried. I said, okay, let's not play Steve at all. So I basically sacrificed one of my mains in that game.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
then
You
later
said
on,
you said it was Hwarang, Steve, and Lee. right?
Yeah, Lee
And
Shaolan.
he dropped
So
Steve in Tekken 6.
yes, I said okay, it's gonna. And funnily enough, I basically when I went to the arcade, it was like 8 months before the Taken 6 was gone.
Mm,
Vanished,
mm,
and then Ticket Tag Tournament 2 came over, and everyone basically started playing that game. So
mm,
I went and I okay, I said okay, I need to make quick decision because everyone is beating the crap out of me. So I was like okay, everyone is so strong, and so I started playing Hwoarang on a
mm,
competitive level. But Hwoarang wasn't really. I mean, seeing this level and the scale of other characters like Steve, Brian. I mean, from that particular level, oh my God, it was really hard. I was really having hard time even playing Hwoarang
mm,
on a competitive level. So I was like bewildered. I mean, what the hell am I need to do? I mean, what sort of adjustment that I need to make? So then I saw that which is the character that nobody's is playing right now. So I observed that no one was playing Zafina. So I basically started maining Zafina too.
mm,
So that was the character which basically gave me a lot of success against many monsters. I know it was she wasn't really that up to the mark even in Taken 6, but it was really an amazing experience, like trying to make that character work against the monsters.
mm,
So later I was so happy, and I said, okay, I think I'm doing well. But later on, I mean, I basically went into the FGC matters. I said, okay, I'm probably too old.
mm,
I said, okay, I cannot basically compete. But yet again, I gave myself another try, and I played Tekken Tag Tournament 2 as well. I mained Jin Hwoarang and Hwoarang Zafina and Devil Jin and Kazuya.
mm,
And I'm a Mishima player and it's all because of Tekken Tag Tournament 1.
mm,
So basically, Mishimas are like my trump card. I get them out in a very very tough situation. If they work, that's fine. If they don't work, I give up.
mm.
So that's the kind of, and since I mean it's not taken, the games are not like Taken Tag Tournament 1 anymore. Every game is so competitive just because they're trying to basically make a balanced game. they
Yeah,
have made they have made every character so strong,
yeah,
so it's not like that. Mishimas are always going to win you matches.
yeah, yeah.
So with the passage of time, I said okay. We held a tournament in Maniacs, the first ever tournament, which was basically held, and it was called like Fighters Cup Season One.
What
So
year was this? What year was this?
I think it was. I think it was a Taken Tag Tournament 2 tournament, and I think it was held probably in 2014.
Okay, 2014.
Yeah,
Okay.
for 2014 or maybe 15. I can't really recall.
Mm,
So from there on, I used to be more like an organizational structure.
mm,
Like I would basically, do the graphics for the tournaments. I'm basically by profession, I'm a CG general as well.
mm.
I'm a game designer as well. I have been working on mobile games as well,
Okay.
and I will definitely would like to share my portfolio with you guys soon as well,
Mm,
and it has all of my 3D and CG work posted. I like, other than doing the games, this is something I have done my bachelor's in film and television, and from there on I gave my thesis as a 3D animated film.
mm,
So it was one bloody heck of a task, I'm telling you. It was like 5.5 minutes, and it wasn't really an easy job to make that film. So I mean that game, that movie basically gave me a national recognition as well, having made a student on a zero budget. So it was like I used to be like I was like my film was screened on a lot of NGO programs, and I was called as a motivational speaker too. And later on, when we started, like I literally started taking alongside my job, I started taking FGC seriously when we first held the Fighters Cup
And
season
it's
one.
and it's
So
interesting. It's interesting you mentioned that because further down the interview, I was going to ask you about um, sort of transitioning from being a player into doing stuff behind the scenes and being a commentator. And
okay,
I'm gonna eventually get to that. And
okay,
it's
yeah,
very nice it's really nice you mentioned that. But um,
yeah,
the next question I had for you was how you got started in competitive Tekken, but you've already explained that the arcade culture in Pakistan was really active, and you've already explained all that. Your answer was actually much longer than I expected. I was just
yeah.
sitting here like just listening to you and taking everything in. So
Basically,
um,
my problem is that sometimes I'm all over the place,
no,
so it's not.
no, it's all good. No, it's all good because
Yeah,
you already answered the question I was gonna ask
yeah.
you. Sort of
Okay.
you talked about moving away from Lahore for
My
seven
God,
years.
my camera
Your
is being a
camera is
pain in
moving
the
mad.
ass. I have no idea why it's doing that, because it usually doesn't do anything terribly much when I'm streaming. Probably it's afraid of Discord, maybe.
Uh,
I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, as I said earlier, you might just have
Hmm.
to let it work the way it's working right now. But basically,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
before we get into sort of transitioning, moving away from playing tournaments and doing stuff behind the scenes, I
Yeah,
wanted to ask you. Well, basically, we've all seen that the Pakistani community has just this year recently burst onto like the global
yeah,
scene. Everyone knows that by
yeah,
now. They've largely dominated the tournaments they've been a part of. Um,
yeah.
but why do you think it's taken so long for the community to reveal itself to the rest of the world? Is it purely a financial thing, like where players couldn't afford to go to tournaments, or is it a lack of big events outside like North America,
Absolutely.
Europe, Korea, Japan until the Tekken World Tour started?
Okay, it's amazing that you asked this question. I think there were particularly two reasons.
Mm-hmm.
All the boys of KOF
Mm-hmm.
used to occupy the arc until Taken 5. So when Taken 5 came, a tournament which used to be held would be like a wow thing in Pakistan.
Mm,
Okay, finally there's a tournament. No,
mm.
like, I mean, our kids would be holding tournaments, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
And, our kids are like, considered racist, bro. I mean, you cannot even like hold many people in the arcade. What happened was that there were few tournaments. One reason that which you mentioned, there were first of all few arcades. First, few arcades,
Mm-hmm.
only few good arcades,
Mm-hmm.
and second reason, less tournaments, and the third one, as we spoke, was the finance, and the fourth, which I think I might want to mention, is lack of education and seriousness toward. I mean, imagine you're being in a game, you're feeling guilty.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
that's how we grew up. We
Because it's like you're wasting your time or like it's something like
exactly.
yeah,
I mean,
something like that. Okay.
your parents continuously drilling your brain, you're wasting your time, and imagine if I'm already being guilty, why the hell I want to pursue it as my career?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I mean, but and while I do not even have any opportunity coming,
yeah. Mm.
you see. So of course, when I do not even have any opportunity coming, why would I basically even go and try for that?
Yeah, yeah.
So that was basically another reason why I personally believe that boys not playing.
Mm.
So And then later on, I think what really changed the course. It was probably
Tekken World
Taken
Tour.
6.
Or Tekken 6.
Taken
Okay, sorry.
6.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
So Taken 6 came. I have already told you that I was basically not even playing Taken
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
point.
yeah.
So I came into the Taken scene when Taken 6 was about to be going.
Mm,
So what just happened there? The active tournaments and the sense of competition really picked the peak,
mm,
and on the other hand, KOF 13 came. People were like pretty much thrilled, and people started playing that game because SNK was basically trying to get rid of the 3D attempts they did, and it was failed. So basically, they came back and released a 2D game, which fans really wanted to
yeah,
play.
yeah, yeah.
13, 13 KF 13 and Taken 6 brought all the classic players back to the arcades.
Mm-hmm.
So so in Taken 6, and I'm telling you now this part, I'm not at the arcades. I'm going to tell you something that I basically watched in pictures and what I heard from people
Mm-hmm.
after meeting them, and it's more like I'm going to tell you a story that I wasn't even part of.
Mm-hmm.
What I heard and watched that scene was getting stronger. There was a guy in there's a guy in Lahore. His name was Kami Butt.
Mm-hmm.
So the butts are, they're really much into the game these
Yeah,
days.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I get what you
so
mean.
so basically, Kamran was his actual name. We used to call him Kami.
Mm-hmm.
So he opened an arcade, and it was all about Taken. So everyone was like going at each other in Tekken 6,
Mm-hmm.
and Arsalan was pretty much active there. Fate Khan was very active there. I think Kasim Veer and West Liaquat was pretty much active. West Liaquat basically ruled Tekken 6.
Mm-hmm.
So Arsalan came out later. So Awais Liaquat is probably the first guy who basically represented Pakistan in Korea for the very first time.
Okay.
Sadly, he was DQ'd from the tournament because he picked the wrong. Like he probably just changed the character. He wasn't really following the rules.
Okay. But
So
hold on.
yeah,
What year was this? Because I
yeah.
don't think anyone has ever mentioned that. Because
I think
the first all of us have heard of Pakistani players at international tournaments was Aslan or OU Gaming last year. But it's interesting you
yeah, yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
that. Like,
So
what do
I
you
think
remember what year that was?
I think it should have been 19 sorry, not 19, of course. It should have been 2012, 2013, maybe.
Okay. Okay.
You know. So he basically he basically Abbas Liaquat played against Snowy in that tournament when he went to Korea.
Okay.
So of course, I mean nobody knows this tournament in detail since it was. I mean, honestly speaking, KV, I think we weren't even used to of playing on arcade sticks. So that was the first time our boy went into an international tournament, and he had to play on a stick,
Mhm.
and being a jack player, of course you should be shaking the whole arcade when you're playing. So it wasn't really easy for him to basically just get himself
And
adjusted on that.
it's interesting you say that because someone in the chat just asked if about top Pakistani jack players, and now you've mentioned the Awais Liaquat. So sorry, cut.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, I mean Aveslak. Yeah, so Aveslak was basically Aveslak was basically he was a monster. Uh, with Jack, and honestly, he was trashing Arsalan even back then.
Mhm.
And then in early days, when Taken Tag Tournament 2 came, um, I think that was the time where Arslan emerged,
Mm-hmm.
and alongside Imran Khan, Faith
Okay.
Khan, Lala.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We call him Imran. We call him Imran Lala.
Okay.
So basically the story behind Lala is that the Pakhtun people, it's a tribe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they call their big brother Lala.
Okay.
So I don't know who called him big brother. So it's like that from there on.
Mm.
So I think it was more like that. I then I then I came into the scene. I saw their pictures. They won the tournament. I started going to the arcades regularly from there on, and after that I did competed for a little, but then I realized that I need ex- extensive practice, which I am basically not able to have.
Yeah.
So what I did that I basically, okay, coming back to the Fighters Cup season one. Uh, there was a funny part of the tournament which basically happened, like like there was a round which was basically really funny, and Abbas Liaquat was playing that round.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the mic because I was basically announcing that whose match is next and whose
Mm.
match
Okay.
is
Okay.
next,
Yeah, yeah.
and who needs to go sit there and who needs to do what.
Yeah, yeah.
So Mike and I basically just commentate one round, and after that, in the very next season, and even in the arcade, everyone was like asking me question: "Are you commentating next time? Are you commentating that too?" And I was, "Are you comment?" So I mean that basically was the point where I basically thought that I should basically commentate. I mean,
And
it's
that
not a
was the
bad
next,
thing to do.
and it's funny you say that because that's exactly the next thing I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, yeah.
What? So
So
I assume that Fighters Cup was your first time
yeah,
doing commentary in a sense.
yeah. Yes. So
Before you go into the full story, I just want
yeah.
to know is there anyone who like you said that was the first time it made you think about like doing commentary, but
Yeah.
is there anyone or anything that sort of pushed you to make that decision? Is there anyone you watched or anyone in the community who
Uh,
told you like you should do this? Like,
People might take it like pretty, like they may think that I'm bloody arrogant or something, or please, I'm an extremely humble person as a person, and but my problem was that KV that Davey, I beg your pardon,
yeah.
Davey. My problem was that I was basically good at everything, and anything I basically wanted to do, I became that.
Hmm.
So my definitely, I think in commentary, I honestly, I think I really like the commentary of Markman,
Okay.
um,
Okay.
and I think I like Rip as well,
Hmm.
and of course Spag too.
Yeah, yeah. Have to shout
So
out
these,
Spag. Yeah.
yeah. These three guys were basically really, like I really like always loved watching too.
Okay.
So from there on, I thought that, okay, I think it's not a bad thing, and then my own community basically wanted something to have in, it's something like this to have in the tournaments as well.
Yeah.
So basically, until like recently, and I tell you, um, it is also going to be very surprising for people to hear that the commentary I was doing at Takra Cup, that was basically my first time commentating.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah. So before that, I never basically commented. I never took everybody seriously trying to tell me that I need to commentate.
Mm.
So I went to the venue 2 days prior to the tournament, and but I always, like Spag is like me. He and I are really good. So he, I was like, I so want to commentate next to you. I said that to him,
Mm.
and from there on, he said, bro, I mean, and then I basically started streaming. So what I basically filled, like I did my whole practice of commentating on streaming. So
Mm.
I used to like host matches of other players, and
And then do commentary over them.
and do commentary on them, because we
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
so much big offline scene in here. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that was another reason. I thought that, I mean, something that I can basically do well. So then Spag and me were basically were at the hotel. So we met, and we spoke about this, and he said, I want, and then Game One Esports basically already had my name as a commentator without even consulting me, because
Oh,
they're my
interesting.
elderly people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they said, okay. They told me that you are going to commentate. They didn't say, okay, can you be doing a
Yeah. Yeah.
commentary or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, so these,
So
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 these,
the
so these Game One esports guys are also
yeah
part of
so
are also part of the community, basically.
yeah so Game One
Okay, so
Esports.
they already knew about you, and they were like, okay, this guy has to do commentary.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they already knew that, he's the perfect match, or they thought that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think what just happened then, uh, and he is like the Game One Esports guy has one of the guy. His name is Kashif, and others who do not know, you
Kashif
might
Iqbal.
Kashif Rashid and Killing Hawk, if you don't know already. Have you seen those killing combos of Kazuya and stuff?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
making combos all the time. So
Yeah.
Killing
Okay.
Hawk is basically, he's 40-year-old man,
Mm.
and he's the first national champion of Street Fighter. So he's probably
Okay.
the first ever national champion of any fighting game in Pakistan. So
Okay.
he's like my elderly figure. I couldn't even refuse. And since it was a good opportunity, I didn't even say no to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then
Definitely.
then I was supposed to like commentate the loser side of the stream,
Hmm.
and meanwhile, so well, Kashif bhai is the co-founder of Game One. He said, "Bro, you don't deserve to commentate here. You should better go on commenting."
On the winner side.
And spoken about that last night, prior to that night, and he said, okay, you gotta commentate next to me. And
Mm.
he said that because that will be the stream everyone will be watching. And
Mm.
he said that will be the stream that Bandai Namco will be watching. That will be the stream that the whole world is going to watch. So you gotta come on that stream. So even Spag really gave me a push. Okay, you gotta come next, because he already knew that this guy is good with the knowledge, and he knew that I know every secret about the FGC Pakistan.
In Pakistan.
So
Yeah.
so yeah. So that was the reason which basically made me come. I then started commentating with Shahir first, like in the
Hmm.
middle sets.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
Shahir
Yeah.
so Shahir is he's a boy from Ireland, and his hometown is Lahore, Pakistan.
Okay.
So he's basically friend to Fergus, and because
Okay.
Fergus is also an Irish European player,
Yeah. Yeah.
so they're like very good friends. So I was basically like staying with them. So in my room, it was me, Fergus, and Super Akuma, and Shahir,
Okay.
and then we had our friends coming over. Like Spag and the other guys were a floor below us. So even they would come in. So I basically what I did in those 2 days, I did my practice on English, and just to not really English. It was more to do with like getting my fluency back.
Mm.
So So that really helped me then. So like it was really an amazing and I mean it was such a privilege from that I got so much love from like many communities I wasn't
Yeah,
even
yeah, yeah,
basically.
yeah.
I think I'm really honored in terms of the gratitude I received, and I pay all my gratitude to the people who basically supported me. It was like really an amazing experience, as a whole. So
Mm.
I received an inbox from Drew, the president of,
Of UIU?
and he inboxed me and he said you're doing a fantastic job, and you're doing something which no one else can. So he meant that you're delivering the message of your community to
To the rest
everybody.
of the world. And you're
So
doing that right now,
yeah,
by the way.
yeah,
Yeah,
just like I'm doing that
yeah,
right now.
yeah.
So on the other hand, I got retweeted by Jinhee. It was also really amazing to see that people. I like honestly like it was. You might have noticed that I wasn't even letting Spag talk.
A lot of
It
people
was.
point to that out on the streams. Like, what's wrong with
Yeah,
this guy? Why is
yeah.
why is he
So
talking over
basically,
Spark all the time?
just
Yeah.
because I am not it's my answer to those people. Just because I'm not even used to of commentating with someone, I commentate
Uh,
alone.
mm.
So
And
that
it's
was
something,
something
and
that I
yeah, and it's
was.
something you can learn over time, obviously,
Of
like
course,
anything
of
else.
course,
Yeah.
I kept learning. Like I even when I go back and basically watch my commentary, I find so many shortcomings that I basically can improve.
Yeah, like with
That was
anything else.
something
Yeah.
that. Indeed, and I think it's going to be a lifelong journey. Learning things. I am so. It one day it is going to be one of my uh, best day in life if I get to basically commentate next to Reinhardt, and
Mm,
because he's like an inspiration to me
okay. And
in
it's
the
and
in the
it's
FG.
it's interesting you mentioned this because I was gonna ask you. Obviously, you did commentary at Takra Cup, but is
Yeah,
I assume now you plan to continue going to tournaments as a commentator
yeah,
and representing your community that way. Like
yeah. I think I
I was
will.
actually expecting you to be at Rocks and Roll Dubai this past weekend, but maybe you weren't able to
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
But
yeah.
this is something you want to continue doing.
I think I definitely will continue doing that. I personally think, I mean, this is something I'm really good at, and I
Okay.
can basically talk on games for hours. I can talk on a round for hours too. It is more like like being a gamer really helped me to talk and learn about the game itself.
Yeah.
I have worked on a lot of gaming engines as well. I have worked on Unreal Engine as well. The Taken is made. So I have also worked on Unity as a game engine too. I think it.
So all that knowledge basically, you feel that it gives you that insight to sort of uh,
Yeah,
you know to to analyze matches basically, if that makes sense. If I'm reading this
exactly.
correctly.
I mean, like most of the time, what happens is that the people do not like. Of course, I mean they wouldn't know what is going on with the collusion system and the physics and the mechanics behind the game. So it's not everybody's business at times to basically expect and try and talk about it. Sometimes, like my friends go, "Whoa, what just happened?" And I know what just happened
Yeah.
because 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 sometimes what happens there are and it's going to be really interesting. It is like if I'm live, please notice this is something I'm about to say something really important that you people might want to take notes. Basically, there are maybe three type of hitboxes. So your hitbox is a square hitbox, and on the other hand, your hit there's some sort of hitbox which is cylindrical. So and there are other hitbox which are going to be triangular. So I'm gonna give you an example from a triangular hitbox.
Mm-hmm.
What just happened that Master Revan
Mm-hmm.
did her rage drive,
Mm-hmm.
having giving while standing one to the opponent, and the basically the opponent was like wall splatted really. So after that, she quickly went for the rage drive.
Yeah.
So so what just happened was like when Master Evan went for the drive, it literally took out the character from the wall really back at her, like even back on her end. So basically, it was a triangular hitbox.
Oh,
So basically,
you mean that's what happens when a resplat happens?
yes,
Okay,
and
okay,
that was
okay.
that something happens when there is basically some hidden colliders. Hidden colliders are like I have given this wall that I'm seeing or touching a certain limitation that every time the character basically it is going to be not basically collided by that actual wall. It is going to be collided with that collider that I have. So sometimes when you're playing games, there are some restricted parts where you cannot game. You cannot
Mm.
go,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
in third-person shooters and other
yeah, yeah,
games.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so basically there are hidden colliders. So that's hidden colliders, and on the other hand, we have hidden hitboxes as well.
Okay.
So these are the things that I can basically talk about for hours, and I know I get people really bored at times just because they
It's not
of course
something
they
they
haven't
really.
really
It's not
seen.
something they really understand. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean being like being a gamer and being a game designer, and on the other hand, like having worked on game engines has basically given me uh, so much knowledge that I can basically share. And it's
Mm.
not just it. I'm not just all about Taken. Honestly, I
KOF.
have. I have yeah, KOF as well. But
Mm.
I'm the SoulDragger for every game. I other games too. I'm an extremely diehard fan of Resident Evil series.
Okay.
I love Last of Us. I love zombie games in general, and I I think I'm gonna show you some of you guys my portfolio that I have worked on the games for. So I mean, it's really an amazing experience to basically. I mean, honestly, this love and the passion for the gaming basically made me a game designer as well.
Yeah.
So and that really pushed me to be shall I share the link with you or in the stream? What do
I
you
think if at the end I was gonna at the end I was just gonna do a shout out in the chat, and then people can I think people can I could do that right now, but people can sort of check out
okay
your stuff in their own time and
okay
stuff like that. I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
it's clear you have like a deep passion for this stuff, cause like um,
yeah, so
I've honestly skipped like two or three questions because I feel like you could go on for hours and hours and hours, and unfortunately we don't have the time.
yeah,
But it would be interesting to like off stream like sit down with you and have a chat about this stuff because
absolutely.
it's honestly interesting to hear some of this stuff. There's a few people in the chat who are talking about how fascinating it is, but unfortunately we don't have all the time to go into all the details. But like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's really interesting.
absolutely,
So I
no
wanted to
problem.
move on to something else that I wanted to get your opinion on.
Okay.
It's obviously we know that Pakistan is it's not the only previously unknown scene to have come out strong this year. We've had players from Peru and other South American countries do really well this
Oh,
year. If you
absolutely
remember,
amazing.
if you remember Collision, all the players in the top eight were from Peru, and at
Oh wow.
TXT. And at TXT a few weeks ago, there's a Brazilian player who beat John Ding in grand final against
Yes, in
Rafinha.
the grand final.
Yeah. And then, of course,
Yeah.
we have a few African players coming out. We had Akon from Ivory Coast make top 32 at
Wow.
Evo. We had our
Amazing.
first African Tekken World Tour major this year. And
Wow. Perfect.
one
Perfect.
of our own players.
Major.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it major?
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
major. It
Amazing.
was a
Love
challenger
it.
event, yeah. And then
Perfect. Perfect.
one of our own players went to Roxanne World Dubai this past weekend, and he was knocked out of the tournament by a
Wow.
Pakistani player, funnily enough.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
And
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I had mentioned him earlier. His name is Kashif Iqbal. I was gonna ask if you know him.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Okay. I think
but
that.
before you get into
Okay.
that, like, uh, Mickey said he lost. He lost that set 2-0, but apparently both matches were really close. Kashif said he's a strong
Okay.
player.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah.
before I get into my question, I wanted to ask you if you know about Kashif Iqbal and you know
Okay.
how strong he is within the overall scene. Obviously, we've been seeing Awais Hani, Atif Butt, Awais Liakat, Farzin, all these other guys, but we haven't really seen much of Kashif Iqbal.
I think as far as Kashif Iqbal is like to your surprise, I don't even know him.
Oh, really?
But thing is, yes, I don't. And I'm telling you, there's a huge community there in UAE. So he's probably from UAE,
Okay,
and
interesting.
he's a Pakistani from like he's probably definitely from Pakistan, but you know his family and him is probably living there in UAE.
Okay,
So
so moving
Kashif
on.
Iqbal,
Okay, so moving on
yep.
to my question, I wanted to ask you,
Mm,
with all these lesser known regions in mind, like coming out as strong as they have this year, would you like to see any changes to the format on the Tekken World Tour, like to give more of these players a chance to qualify for the finals? Like, let me give you an example.
hmm.
You know about Capcom Cup, the Street Fighter thing, yeah?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah.
Capcom Cup has, I think it's top 26 on the
Hmm.
standings, and then the winner of the last year's tournament, the winner of the last chance qualifier, and then the regional winner from Europe, North America, South America,
Hmm.
and Asia. So would you want to see something similar for the Tekken World Tour to give more players in these lesser known regions like Pakistan like a chance to qualify, more of a chance to qualify for the Tekken World Tour finals?
I personally believe that, of course, it has to happen because since I mean, as far as Pakistan is concerned, of course, Pakistan should get a major now because since of the
Yeah, yeah,
achievement
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything,
Yeah, so
and
many,
of
such a huge
course,
community.
and
Yeah.
and if I talk about like African Tekken scene, definitely they should be given their chances too. And
Absolutely, yeah.
but the problem here is that they might not. I mean, they should basically try and consider this to be done. But I think since we're so close to the finals
No, I don't
in
mean
December 8th.
no. Of course, I don't mean like for this year. I
Yeah,
mean in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
future. I mean in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, it
Yeah,
has to be done. It
yeah,
has to be done no matter what because I mean the love and the passion for game from every community is clearly there out there. I mean, look at the streamers. Every region there are people streaming the game, talking about it. They have the community and everything. So I think absolutely this has to be done in a way that it basically like facilitates more players to basically come out from their scene to basically join the international ride. So I personally believe you're absolutely correct that there has to be some major events in specific regions. And I mean, since I mean the regions, I kept telling that in my commentary at Takra Cup as well that please like it's time for the sponsors and investors to basically just come and chip in. I
yeah,
mean you're already spending a lot of money where there is already competition. So why not spend money where there's no competition? I mean, they should spend, like, they should support and spend a lot of money in the African side. I do, you guys have much talent there,
Yeah, yeah.
and I personally believe that. I mean, honestly, Dave, I think that there would be many great players that you probably aren't even afraid, like,
Mm.
aware of in
Yeah,
your
yeah,
region.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So, and
Exactly.
it's just about finding them and giving them opportunity. When you're not even going to give them opportunity, they're not going to appear.
Yes.
So when they need to know, and then there's constantly has to be some sort of coaching. Not just coaching is probably not the right word. Maybe awareness,
Yeah, yeah.
among those players. Someone is trying to let them know, okay, this opportunity is coming, and those guys. I mean, I'm telling you, everyone who plays game at the arcade is a guilty man.
Mm.
They and I just it's my humble request to everybody that get these guys out of their guilties. I mean, help them make it their make them like professional players, as well
Yeah,
as someone who doesn't even have to worry about the money and the stuff and other things.
yeah.
Of
Mm.
course, despite sponsors being uh you know um it's, I mean, having a sponsorship is, it's a business, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Absolutely,
you give
absolutely.
them something, you get something back. You give
Mm.
them something, you get something back. So it's more like that sort of thingy. So I personally, it's my request to everybody. I mean, they really need to chip in.
Yeah.
It's perfect time for people to basically now try and solve. I mean, especially the communities within the region. I mean,
Sorry,
you
sorry,
have
sorry,
you have
sorry, you're breaking up just a second there. You said it's basically time for.
oh yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You said it's basically time for.
I said it's basically time for sponsors to basically now
Mm-hmm.
come out of their shell and
Mm-hmm.
basically try and support these small regions, small places where there are so many good players. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
Pakistan was also, like, a very drowned region as far as the FGC and the gaming scene was concerned. Yes, we do have Dota team, we do have CS teams, but and at the end of the day, those big people to whom which you are basically trying to you're trying to basically invest on, they think that Taken is crap. They think that they think that they are privileged people, they can play Dota. They are privileged people that just because they play CS. I'm telling you, this is the kind of mentality, like, inside we are facing with. So if you basically, as a sponsor or investor, basically you come in and basically try and support these players and the scenes. I mean, of course, you can get a lot of business out of that.
and
It's
it's and it's
absolutely.
and it's interesting you mentioned that because the next thing I was gonna get into is some of these sponsors have started taking notice of Pakistan and they're coming in and supporting the scene. Of course, we've seen UIU set up Takra Cup. We had Genuine Gaming coming to the Maniacs Gaming Hub in Lahore, which you mentioned earlier. I don't know
Yeah,
what
I
the
play there.
I don't know what the
I play
details
there.
up. I don't know what the details of that partnership are, but it's like maybe they came through some of the equipment or they're looking to create some content there. So
Yeah,
you've spoken about private investors and private sponsors like
yeah,
having to take a chance at the FGC. But do you think?
absolutely.
But do you think the Pakistani government has a role to play in supporting the community and helping it grow as well? And I assume this would go for any community, not any government, not just in Pakistan.
I let me just try and put it in the perspective. Yes, basically, Davey, it's more like if you do not protest, you don't get something. Honestly speaking,
Mm,
you gotta keep your scene alive by basically just keep channeling it.
mm.
So if you're not, I mean, Davey, I personally think you're doing a fantastic job in your
Thank you.
FGC,
Thank
right?
you.
You're trying to, no problem. You're trying to, you're trying to basically. Thank you very much in the chat. I just read that. I've got shout outs and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So really thank you guys. So I was saying that I mean it's you're trying to do your bits, right?
yeah,
So thinking that one day your FGC will rise and people will basically get to see your scene and find so many awesome players from your scene. I mean, you're doing your bit, bro. So
yeah,
this is what I am doing in my community at the same time.
yeah,
So I personally believe that these things just keep on, like they just need to be happening all the time. And on the other hand, like if you just keep doing it, one day it's going to break into a news
yeah.
on a
Mm,
TV channel.
yeah,
Then maybe someday maybe your president, or maybe your prime minister might want to take it in under consideration.
yeah.
So I mean, these sort of things that they are like in your hand.
Mm.
So you just need to just keep doing your bits. That's something that I personally find is the most important thing to be done at this point.
All right, that's a very interesting answer. And like as you say, it's in Kenya, it's really tough because like for example, the government sees gaming as gambling in a sense. There were kids who were arrested
Yeah.
the other day playing FIFA, and the police said they were gambling, and everyone
Okay.
everyone was up in arms about that. But it's interesting you say that because that's all you can do, right? It's like just keep doing your
Yeah.
bit, keep organizing
Yeah.
events, keep making stuff happen for the community, and
Yes.
eventually someone has to turn their head and be like, okay, something's happening here. Like, how can I get
Yeah.
involved? Yeah, so it's very interesting you mentioned that. So we're gonna
Yeah.
wrap up the interview now. Last question, and this is something I know you can talk about for hours and hours. And
Yeah.
this is something I ask all my guests when I have them on the show. But I just for the sake of time, I just want you to give like really brief answers, and then
No
I can let you go on your way. So
no
who do you
problem.
have as your Tekken 7 top 5 characters?
You mean the tier list?
Basically, yeah, top 5 characters.
Okay. Well, it changes from season to season these
Yeah.
days, so it's so upsetting. Back then in KRF days, it wasn't really the case. So we were really happy even beating the top tier. Like in KRF '98, we had Goro Diamond, who was basically one bloody heck of a like nightmare. It was really, I mean, those games wasn't really updatable at that point. So we
So
basically
so
had to like
so who do you have?
deal with
So
the
who do you
buggy.
have? So who do you have? Okay, season 3 maybe it still hasn't been like enough time, and there's still changes happening. So let
I
me
think
ask.
I can tell you.
Okay, season
No
3.
problem.
Okay, season 3.
Okay, season three. Of course, there's no doubt about it. You know the number one first. So
Akuma.
yeah, it's him. Uh,
Okay.
I think on number two, I personally think it's Zafina.
Zafina.
Uh, yes,
Okay, just
I.
briefly, it's I don't think that's a character too many people think is quite strong, but just briefly tell us why.
I think she has a very safe game. You can always she has a very distant down forward one, just
Mhm,
like Kazumi had in season one.
mhm.
So you can like catch someone side walking. I'm gonna tell you, Zafina's down back two is broken. So
Down back
if
two. I know that. Yeah, I know the movie you're talking about. Yeah,
it's not a cutter, but it's always going to behave like a cutter.
yeah, yeah.
So it's so Zafina is number two. I
Mhm,
think
mhm.
Claudio is number three.
And I think Claudio is a character so many people overlook. Like season three, Claudio is so stupid
Yeah,
with that
yeah,
sidestep four or hop
yeah,
kick. It's like a legit mix up now. So you have
yeah.
Akuma, Zafina,
Yeah,
Claudio.
and then he can even go sidestep into back one. So
Yeah, 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 yeah,
he's
yeah, yeah.
so he's an extremely good character.
Mhm.
I think number four would be. I just had it in mind. I just forgot. Yeah, I mean Steve. Steve is. I think Steve is nerfed. Steve is good,
Yeah,
but I don't think he. I'm gonna like even going to consider him in my top four. He's good. He's good. He's always going.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I think Shaheen is better.
Okay, Shaheen.
Uh, Shaheen is also really good, and last character which I personally think be uh I'm gonna take a little time. Please let me just use my brain.
Any of the
Uh,
Mishimas, Geese, Kazumi.
I think honestly, okay, I'm gonna tell you something really interesting.
Mhm.
If you ask me if someone plays Kazuya right, he's above Akuma. Okay,
Okay,
so
okay.
yes, I always beat Akuma with Kazuya. I'm telling you, he beats him like anything. It's
So
just that you basically need to play Kazuya right.
okay,
So, okay, fifth one would be, in my humble opinion, Lee Wulong.
Lei Wulong. Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair. That's
yeah,
fair. I can see why you think he's pretty strong. So Akuma, Zafina, Claudio, Shaheen, Lei.
yeah.
That's a very
That's my.
interesting one. Yeah, that's not a those aren't characters you
th-
see together in top five too often. But
yeah, and
everyone
you
has their
wouldn't
own
even.
opinion.
They're not top. They're not typical top
Yeah,
tiers
yeah,
as
yeah, yeah,
well.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
again, everyone has their own opinion and their own approach to the
yeah,
game.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Indeed, indeed,
yeah,
indeed,
yeah.
indeed.
All right,
Yeah.
so thank you so much, SoulDragger, for coming on the stream and sharing your stories with us today. Honestly,
You're more than welcome.
I cut out like three questions because I was just sitting here listening to some of the stories you were telling us about how you
Yeah,
started out, how you moved away from Lahore for 7 years,
yeah,
all that sort of stuff. So obviously, if we had more time, we could have sat here for like 4 hours talking about it. So
yeah,
yeah, it's like
yeah. Definitely.
I really appreciate you taking the time. Um, and yeah, that's all I can say is good luck to you. Good luck with everything you're doing. Uh,
Thank you
and
very much. Thank you very
and
much.
yes, again, the donation drive you had mentioned earlier is in the chat again. If you want to support Ryuki Leonidas' son, the link is there in the
Yeah,
chat. And I'm
please.
gonna show you all one more time in the chat as well. If you want to follow him on
And
Twitch,
I want to say thank you to Davey, you and your whole Kenyan FGC. I'm glad that someone think that I'm basically worthy of taking an interview of. I think it's just a humble gesture from you guys, and I'm so honored to give you guys my interview. And I so want to thanks to everybody who basically supported me, on stream, off stream, everywhere. And the one thing I want to say to your Kenyan FGC
hmm
is that please keep playing the game, and remember that you're not gonna you have to basically give birth to great players, not good, great players. When I say great, I mean people who who do a lot of practice, who play very good, and they're basically competitive. It's not that one is beating everybody. It's
Yeah, yeah.
it's never healthy. You have to have monsters. You have to give birth to all the monsters, and please try and train within the game rather than labbing. Labbing is fine when you're alone, but try and learn from the game in versus fighting. So, and offline, please do not play
Yeah,
online. I hate it.
yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
cannot.
One thing. Mickey said when he came back from Dubai, it was like, we need to be playing more offline. And I
Yeah,
suggested to everyone in our community, like everyone lives in their own little areas. Like every week, you guys can meet up, have like
yeah,
a long session, first to 10, first to 20, whatever. Just
absolutely.
play together every week, and that's how some people
Perfect,
can improve. Yeah.
perfect. I mean,
So
that's what we do.
So again, thank you so much. Good luck to you again, and I'll let you be on your way now. Have a great night, and we'll
You
hopefully
too.
keep in touch. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Take care, bro. Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
Take
Cheers,
care.
bro. All right. So that's that. Uh, SoulDragger. Thank you guys. Just noticed I started skipping frames, but it's all good. We're ending the stream anyway. Thank you to everyone who watched the stream. Hopefully, you guys learned a lot from that. I honestly was struggling to stop him in his tracks because I was like engaged in what he was saying and trying to learn from what he was saying. But again, that's what this is here for. We want you guys to take on some knowledge and hopefully apply that in your own game and stuff like that. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the stream. I will be back with Iron Fist Fridays next week, not this week, because this week we have the Savannah FGC event on Saturday. Although that'll be done by the time this goes up on YouTube and AfriPods. Again, you can sign up for the Tekken 4 circuit and the Kenya Combo circuit on the website, !circuit in the chat. And yeah, nothing else to say now. Take care, everyone. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time.